everybody, it's Anne. Welcome back to my video podcast channel. This is a combined podcast that features some information about my knitting, my spinning, reading, cross-stitching. You can find me on the web at www.woollywonkafibers.com. I also have an Instagram account that's Woolly Wonka Fibers. And I have a personal Instagram account that's Little Bird Stitcher, also on Instagram. I have a Facebook account under Woolly Wonka Fibers and a Ravelry account under Woolly Wonka Fibers. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope that you find some fun things here and enjoy your stay with me. And if you are a returning viewer, as always, thank you for spending some time with me. I greatly appreciate your continued support of my various crafty things. So today is Friday, October 26th. It is about 10 o'clock in the morning, so I thought I would try to get this recorded before I head off to SoCal next week, so it would upload this weekend, and then I can toddle off to Pasadena without having to think about recording a podcast. I have two helpers kind of circling my little space here. So we'll see if, hopefully if any of them makes a foray onto the table. It's the small one and not the 65-pound one. But at any rate, things here are great. We've had some beautiful fall weather. We've had some sunny days and we've had some rainy days, which is very rare here in the fall in New Mexico. We rarely have rain happening in the fall. It's not our rainy season. But as I'm looking out this way across my deck and out towards the east, there is a nice coating of snow on many of the mountain peaks out across the valley. So that is nothing but good news, and hopefully we'll just continue to get lots and lots more of that. We did actually have some snow here at the house. Our house is about 6,700 feet, so obviously the 10,000 foot and higher peaks get snow and we don't get snow, but it did get cold enough for us to have a day where we had flurries off and on, and enough that accumulated you could actually see the snow. So, and that's kind of fun. I'm definitely a cold weather gal, so that makes me super happy. I'm also going to take a minute here, and I'd like to insert a video clip just really quickly to show you guys some Halloween and fall decorations that I have out. So I will insert that clip. Hey guys, this is Anne, and just wanted to give you a quick tour of some of the things that I have out for the fall. Here in the front, one of the gentlemen that my husband used to work with, his father was a glass blower for the lab, and Fred inherited all of his dad's glass blowing equipment. His dad used to make test tubes for the lab. Obviously these are not test tubes, but some of my favorite things, I love the modeling on those pumpkins and the little curlicues on the top. So we have that little small collection of Fred's craft. The October piece from Brenda Gervais that I finished. And you guys might remember I stitched that one earlier this year. And yes, I do have my winter garden from the Drawn Thread out because I love it so much, but until I get the fall one done, it's gonna probably be out every single season. I have a couple of little smalls in here. This is also a Drawn Thread that I finished last year, as is this one. Love both of those. And I have this great little spooky pin cushion that my friend Joy made for me, along with a bunch of stick pins and just some charms and things. So I have that in this bowl. The bowl is a crystal bowl that my mom had gotten when she got married from her mom's side of the family. It's just a cut crystal bowl, but It has a family history that goes back quite a bit, actually. I think 1870s is when that one is from. So I have that out year round. And I have my new drawn thread Welcome Autumn piece. And I dropped my little spider that my friend Joy also gave me, and she lives up there to kind of keep an eye on things. And then just some ancestor pictures. This one here is my grandmother, my mom's mom, when she was a little girl. And then the one in the back is my dad's parents dancing at my mom and dad's wedding. So that is my current little fall setup here. Hope you guys enjoy that mini tour. Bye. And when you come back, you'll see those are things that I have stitched up or have gotten as gifts. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that little quick clip. It's fun to walk by and see all those things out, and I'll have some other things come winter that'll be out as well. So I'll probably do another little clip for y'all then too. So let's talk about what's going to be going on kind of in the world of knitting. I am headed out to Stitches SoCal next week. I will be there, Marketplace preview. I will be in the Yarn Guys booth, and then I will be teaching class on Friday afternoon, Friday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday morning. That's what I meant to say. Other than that, I will be in the Yarn Guys booth. I will have my Nimue sock, plus a whole bunch of patterns and some kits, plus of course their yarns. Today I am wearing a version of the Chimayo cardigan. This, my friend Andy knit this sample for me. It's out of the Yarn Guys Fennel Garn, which is a nice lightweight wool. And it's a slightly different colorway than the colorway we released in the Santa Fe collection, although the information for the colorway is included in the pattern for these colors of fennel garn. And I love how the turquoise and teals turned out. I just think that band of knitting, it just glows against the neutral. So this I have moved into for the last several days. It's been cool enough here, kind of the perfect weight to wear this weight of a sweater. So enjoying that. And so I'll have all of the other samples from the Santa Fe collection in the Yarn Guys booth, everything that we've knit up. Hang on one second. Lizzie, I need you to lie down. Down. So that should be a lot of fun. If you're in the Pasadena, LA area and want to stop by, please do. Sarah of Stitch and Mommy and I are going to try to get together for breakfast one morning, which I think will be very fun. That seemed to kind of work the best for her crazy schedule, my crazy schedule, but it seemed too good an opportunity to miss since I was actually going to be near her. So I'm really looking forward to that. I have almost nothing to share with you guys in knitting right now. I am buried under knitting samples. That's what I got going right now. So nothing I can show you. I was daydreaming the other day about how awesome it would be to have a year where I just like knit plain socks, just plain socks. And I know that sounds kind of boring, but right now, no, it doesn't to me. It actually sounds like a vacation, a knit vacation. So we'll see, maybe after I get through the big Viking collection release for February, I may take a couple months off and just knit some selfish stuff. That's the positive bonus end of that. We'll see. We'll see when I get that far. I did send off my package to the Mittens for a call charity that I knit for. They do a Father Frost sock drive for the kids at that orphanage. And the gal who coordinates all of that, Nancy, she physically takes the packages over the first week of November. She takes boxes and boxes of stuff. So I was just happy I was able to send her a good-sized box of things that I've collected over the year that I've knit, hats and socks, just a mix of different stuff, and that got put in the box, and she has that in her hot little hands. So when she's ready to go, I think she's leaving like the 5th or something of November, 4th or 5th, she'll have everything there. So that's my charitable contribution for knitting for this calendar year, and she goes every year. So if you're somebody who's interested in doing some knitting for charity, I will put a link to the Mittens for Ackle group that's on Ravelry. Nice group of gals. They do a ton of great stuff for the kids in this orphanage, and you really can't go wrong with what you knit. They're happy to have anything that's wool. They don't want acrylic. Everything's hand washed. They don't have washing machines at this orphanage. Sometimes they also do not have hot water, so washing wool is not really a big deal. It's the least of their worries. So any mostly wool blends, they're happy to take. Hats, mittens, socks, sweaters, blankets, scarves, teddy bears, if you like to knit those. It's a real good group. I've been active with them for about 10 years. So I try to send them a box every year, and include some things that the kids could use in the orphanages, like Band-Aids and Neosporin and hair ties for the girls, just stuff we kind of take for granted that they don't have extra money to put towards. So anyway, that is the deal with that. If you are somebody who signed up for the Celtic Year Club for the Shawl Club, you may have already received a shipping notice. Those packages are going out Monday, so you will be receiving your shipping notice between now and Monday. I'm working through, I try to do them in batches, so I can kind of keep an organization a little bit better, so stuff isn't stacked up in piles. So I try to do them in batches of 20 and then work my way through that over several days to get everything fulfilled. But that is going out. You should also have an email in your inbox on Monday that will give you a way to download the pattern and also the information about the festival. So coming shortly. And then our next one we'll be looking forward to is Yule in late December. Okay, so that is going to be it for knitting today. Let's go on and talk about spinning. So I did finish plying up the Polwarth that I had been working on. This is Polwarth wool. The original roving is the colorway Padfoot from If By Hand. It is a combination of some kind of blurples and sky blue and brown and khaki. I spun this up. It's a 2-ply worsted weight, so 196 yards and 4 ounces. Super squishy. I think this would make a great hat, but mittens would be good in it too. Love the colorways in this. This is just like pushes all my buttons. Love it. So this is finished. One more to move from unspun roving into finished yarn stash and then sit in that bin for a while. I'm currently working on another deep stash roving, and this is from Funky Carolina, one of my all-time favorite dyers. The colorway is Vibrant Jewels. I just grabbed it at random. I opened one of my bins and it was on the top, and so that's what I took. It is on Shetland wool, which is super fun to spin, spins up really quick. I'm also spinning this as a worsted weight. I've decided I'm just gonna do a bunch of those. These don't really look like they're the same colorway, but they are. They're just from two ends of the braid. So this one has more green in it and this one has more blue in it, but they both have that ruby red color. So these are the two singles. 2 ounces on each bobbin, and these will get plied together. I am going to try to do that this weekend, and we'll see what happens. I would like to have those finished so that I can kind of not have anything on my wheel while I'm away, and then I can start my next spin when I get back. So we'll see how that goes. My husband is flying into New Mexico tomorrow, and he'll be here for 4 days, which will be really nice to have him home. But we also have a whole bunch of stuff that we want to get done while he's here, so not as much sort of like personal crafting time this weekend, which is, you know, totally fine. But we'll see if I get that done. I think this is going to be a short one today, guys, because now I'm moving on to books. So what have I been reading? I am still working on A Midwife's Tale. I am this far done it. And a lot of this is footnotes, so, and the appendices. Let's see. So I have about that much more left to go. I forgot how much I loved the center chapters in this book when she talks about her weaving and the things that she does around the house. And also just what a remarkable woman that she was still out braving Maine winters to deliver babies in her mid to late 60s. So definitely like a pioneering spirit, and I'm really glad that I decided to reread this. So working my way through that. I should have this one done by the time we talk next time as well. I also read a little lighter and fluffier book. Last weekend was a treatment weekend for me, and I tend to be very space cadet-y those weekends. I have to take a lot of Benadryl and some other drugs to get the drug that I get. So I sleep a lot, and I basically can like read light fiction and watch TV. That's sort of the extent of what I have brain capacity for. So I read a book called Daughters of the Lake. As always, I'll put a link down below to my Goodreads page. So I thought that this was going to be similar to the book I read earlier this year called The Winter People, which was distinctly creepy and one of those books that isn't necessarily a normal genre that I would read, but I needed something to fulfill one of the Around the Year in 52 Books prompts for a book that scares or intimidates you, and I thought, well, okay, I can do another kind of spooky one like that. So the book is very similar to The Winter People in terms of its structure. It has an old mystery, like turn of the century mystery, that is being solved in present contemporary day, and there's some tie-ins that kind of pull some of the weird goings-ons that happened in the early teens, the 19 teens, and what's going on today. So the book is set on Lake Superior. Probably if you've grown up in that area, you'd at least find the book relatively enjoyable, or any of the Great Lakes, because it pulls in a lot of the folklore about the lakes and how much of a weather maker the Great Lakes are. So the main character in this book, she goes for a walk and she finds this woman washed up dead on the shore. And she's a little freaked out because this woman has not only appeared to her in dreams, but in her dreams, she is this woman, this dead woman. And when they call the police and they start investigating, the woman has an infant wrapped kind of into her nightgown with her that's also dead. And they are trying to figure out, you know, who she is, and there's some suspicion on the woman who, our main character, who has found the deceased, because she has kind of this weird response to them, and she doesn't want people to think she's crazy because she has seen this woman alive in her dreams. And so she kind of decides that she's going to take on like unraveling the mystery and figuring out who this woman is. And so the backstory kind of starts to build in there. So it's told in some flashbacks and some flash forwards where we find out who the deceased woman is and how she came to be in the lake and how it's taken 100 years for her body to surface. So there's some sort of supernatural facets to the book. There's a lot of like suspend your disbelief kind of stuff that you need to do. And it was a little too trite for me. You kind of could see where most of the story was coming from and how it ties into the spirit of the lake and all of that. So some ghost story bits to it, but kind of more of a chick flick read than anything else. And definitely light, L-I-T-E, light read. You know, entertaining and like a perfect weekend read when I didn't want to have to concentrate on anything too much, but not one of my top books for this year. We'll say that. So I have one more book to read in my Around the Year in 52 books, which I have not started. I have selected it, but the topic is one of Amazon's top 100 books you should read. That's all I really know about it, except I selected it off their list as something I hadn't read yet, so I'm gonna do that. I'll talk about that next time because I'll actually probably start that this weekend and then have it for my travel reading. I've also started another book that will be outside the Around the World in 52 books prompts, just to read for reads, that a friend recommended to me, called House of Leaves, by Mark Danielewski, I think is how you say his last name. I have only read the very first few pages of this book. It is a very dense read. And I'm not sure even how to describe this book. It's a very odd book. It's oddly structured. It's a little stream of consciousness. It's written in the manner where there's lots of notes, as if the writing is being researched in some way. There's all kinds of different text fonts throughout, and it's a big book. And it is not a light read. So let me get a little further into it, and I will let you all know what I think about it. Sometimes I have an issue with books that are written, if something's written in an odd way and it's telling the story so beautifully and brilliantly that the oddity is subservient to the story, I don't mind that. If it's just like somebody trying to be smart and write something different and be quirky, I don't like those. So we will see. I think I mentioned this. Ladybug Stitcher. I was watching her video and she had mentioned that she had read How to Stop Time based on my recommendation. So I am so glad, Lorna, that you enjoyed that book. But you know, sometimes when you recommend a book to people, you never know if they're going to like it or not. So sometimes I'm hesitant to recommend books or not recommend books. I mean, you know, everybody's tastes are different and everybody likes different things, but I don't know. Like I said, sometimes just being weirdly written is just weirdly written. It's not a brilliant book. However, this has gotten lots of other good press. We'll see. So that is my next read thing here. So I kind of got a bunch of reads going on, and of course I will keep you guys posted on what I think of stuff. I do think next year I'm going to try to do the Around the World in 52 Books prompts again. I just found that those were really have been and are really helpful to get me outside my stuff I would normally read. I do have a stack of books that my dad sent me. I'm looking at them over on the bookshelves over there. That I would like to try to slot at least half of them in. So I just need to look at the prompts and figure out how I'm going to do that. And, you know, it's for fun. So, I mean, if I don't get through all of the 52 prompts and I read some other stuff, it's not like that's going to hurt anything. And I've got 2 more months left in 2018 to just read stuff. So I may tackle some of those. There's some really good ones. He sent me, well, it's just a whole mix of stuff. I mean, it's fiction, it's steampunk, it's some history, it's some short story anthologies, including 2 sets of George R.R. Martin short stories that are, you know, tomes. A bunch of historical fiction. I mean, just stuff I like. So that may be what I read through the end of the year and just kind of work my way through that list a little bit. We'll see. Stay tuned. Reading is fun. Okay, so let's move on to cross stitch. First, I wanted to say a big thank you, which I have forgotten to do in my last 2 videos. One of my podcast watchers, Elisa, sent me this beautiful mandala card, which I love. And then she also sent me a Mill Hill kit, which I did not have, one of their buttons and beads. This is Enchanted Pumpkin, which I love. I think that is a great design. I could definitely see myself stitching that. So thank you for thinking of me and sending that on. You know, you didn't have to do that. It was a very nice surprise to get that in the mail. And that is definitely going in the to be stitched pile for sometime in the relative short term. So what have I been working on? Okay, I've got 3 projects to share with you guys. Let's start with the first new start. And I left the picture of it elsewhere. So let me insert a picture of Eternia here. This, you may remember, is the one that I decided, I had originally ordered it as a quick stitch. It was still massive. I decided I was going to shrink it down, which I did. And then I decided I was going to remove the background myself, because why not, right? Oh, and I don't even have the right one. Hang on, guys, and I'm going to go get it. Sorry about that. The good news, I guess, is I don't now have to insert a picture. I'm just going to show it to you. I grabbed the wrong clear folder. Anyway, so here is Eternia. I have decided that I'm just dealing with this section here. I'm going to not do any of the trees. I haven't decided if I'm going to be stitching the lake behind them, but probably not. I think we're just going to do the woman, the horse, and then this grassy knoll she's standing on, but I'm also going to crop it to about there. Amy Stewart artwork, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And here is where I am on this. Let's see if I can get the threads out of the way enough that you guys can actually see what I've done. I am now stitching this on a piece of even weave from Color and Cotton in the colorway Haunted. So there is where I have gotten to. I decided I was going to start with her face because that was really easy to identify on the chart. And then I will work the horse kind of around her and I will work her down. I have to say that when I was stitching this, I was like, I have no idea what those colors are doing in there. They seem completely random. They're like bright terracotta, and I mean, you can see a little of that in the shoulder of her dress, but even here in her face, there's a ton of those colors. And I was like, You know, as I was working on just like this first little block right here, I thought, wow, this one's not really very good. And then I quit looking at it so closely, and I actually took a photo of it, and then all of a sudden her face appeared, just because it's magic. I think full coverage pieces are magic like that. So this is her hand, and then this is, the dark brown is where she's got her head resting on her horse. So that, and that little bit of her hand. So really happy with how much I got done on this. I think it's going to be amazing on this fabric when it's finished. I have tons and tons of hanging threads, so just please ignore those. Light got odd outside. I don't know, we got a cloud or something out there. But anyway, so yeah, this will be back out. Love this one. Absolutely love it. I really enjoyed working on it. And I'm going to be super happy to kind of watch that one come to life. So glad I started that. Then I used the random number or Tiny Decisions app to generate my next choice to work on. And that was Joan Elliott's Autumn Fairy. Here is what she will look like when she's finished. And I got some good stitching time in on her. I am stitching this on, it's a 32 count Murano from Chromatic Alchemy. It was one of their Fabric of the Month Club offerings from this past year. The colorway is Feronia. And here is what I have gotten done. So her headdress is basically done. I need to put, there's little French knots. You can see on the Krynic there, kind of where it makes the grid pattern, there's little French knots where those intersect. And I've gotten maybe a third of the back stitching done on the wings. And then I've gotten some of the back stitching done here in the her face slash hair slash headdressy thing. So yeah. And then I started working down. And this is the sash that kind of comes around her upper arms. So tons of Krynic in this one, and there's, you can see, I think, yeah, like right there, there are some spaces left for beads. So I will do all the beading last. I just want to get the Krynic and back stitching and regular cross stitching done first, and then I'll go back in and add beads. There's also beads up here, kind of come around and through there. But there she is. Love this fabric with this design. I think it's absolutely perfect. And another one I can't wait to get back to. So happy with that, and glad that I got to put 5 days in on her. And then finally, I have started another full coverage piece. This is another Heaven and Earth design chart. Artwork is by Stephen Roberts, who, if Google is correct, he's the husband of Cokie Roberts, the news person. Who knew? Anyway, this one is Lady of the Woods. Interestingly enough, this one is kind of working up like a mystery stitch, because this is the biggest rendition of it I can find on the internet. I can't find it stitched anywhere. I can't find a picture of the original artwork that is very big. They're all like 400 by 300. So if you try to blow them up to see more detail, it comes out completely pixelated. So to some extent, I don't have a completely clear picture of all of the detail in this. I mean, obviously you can see some of it, but it's still a fairly small image. So started this one, what day would that have been? Tuesday of this week, I think, Monday of this week, sometime this week. And here is where I am. I'm just working this on 25 count magic guide. So this is page 1, and that is as far as I've gotten. And I can't totally tell if this is like a big moon or just magic things happening or whatever, but that's where I am currently. I made the decision I'm actually going to work on this through the weekend and then the beginning of next week before I take off for SoCal, rather than switch out to something else. So this will be what I work on through the weekend, and we'll see if I can, I don't know, 1,000 stitches or something into it. That would be great. Be a nice start. Love the artwork. I'm excited to be able to have a couple of reasons to work on that next year for some prompts in the Full Coverage Fanatics group. I'll put a link to that below. I think we're at like just about 1,700 people, which mind-boggling to me that that group has that many people in it, because like I always say, I initially thought that it was going to be like me and Lisa at Lisa's Stitchin' and Such, who is back. She has a new video, gonna watch it today. Hi Lisa, so happy to have you back. And Sarah over at Stitchin' Mommy. So I figured there'd be like 3 or maybe 5 of us tops. So yeah, it's expanded a little bit beyond that. So if you haven't checked it out and you like full coverage, we've got a whole bunch of stitch-alongs and themed type things that we're going to be doing next year. Would love to have you participate in any or all of those that float your boat. I'm also going to be participating in Sarah's No New Starts 2019 thing. She has a really great little kind of discussion about it in her most recent video that she just uploaded this week. I think Monday, maybe, or Wednesday. I lose track of the days here. Anyway, one day this week. So if you haven't checked that out, go and do that. And she kind of explains, you know, why she's decided to do it, and that she doesn't think that it's like a requirement for everyone to do, but why it was important for her to do it. And so yeah, it's taken a few new starts to happen for me at the beginning here of this last quarter of 2018 to feel comfortable to do that. I don't have as many full coverage pieces as she does, so I get why she doesn't want to start new ones. I totally understand that. So anyway, if you're interested, there's that as well to participate in. So let's talk about some plans really quickly. I think I'm going to try to take Key to My Heart with me to SoCal. Again, it's in the final stages. It's only one color of thread. Even if I got like a couple of the little Quaker motifs done, because I doubt I'm going to have much stitching time, I'll have it with me and I can put some stitches in the hotel room if I can stay awake at night after I get back from various and sundry things. So that's what I'm going to work on at the beginning of the month. I am waiting. I have been using my Tiny Decisions app to kind of plot out what I'm going to work on for a 5-day rotation. I kind of have an open slot that I'm leaving for that first full week of November. That's like the 5th through the 9th, because basically I get home from SoCal. I'm home for 24 hours, I think, and I have to turn around and go right back out for another event in Albuquerque for, I'll be gone 2 nights. So I don't know what I will be working on, if anything, during that time. I may just keep Key to My Heart with me. We'll see. I may start something small just to have some small project to take with me. It'll just depend on kind of how brain dead I am by the time I've done all that travel. And so then I will be back to talk to you guys sometime like the 9th or 10th. We'll see what I have to show you other than to talk about plans at that point. So I do have the rest of the month of November mapped out, and is a lot of full coverage. 1 5-day set of 1 5-day rotation on 6 of Swords, 2 5-day rotations on Which Way, yes, and Witches Go Riding will also be out at the end of, or middle of the month, kind of over the Thanksgiving week here in the US. And I have gone ahead and plotted out December and January, and we'll see how that all works out. I'm still toying with how I want to attack 2019. I know for sure that I want to have a focus piece that I work on finishing, but part of me worries if I just work on a full coverage piece and I say, okay, even a mini that has, 9 or 12 pages, I'm a little worried that I'm going to get burned out on it, to be honest. I don't think I can just work on that until it's done, even though that sounds really great. So I'm still kind of tossing around whether I want to do like a tiny decisions app, some random rotation slots in and just work 5 days on stuff, or if I want to commit to setting specific goals to work on and say, okay, I'm going to work on this project until I get a page finish or 2 page finishes, or I finish X amount of it and then it goes away. I just haven't decided yet. So stay tuned. Always something new and exciting. I think that is it for me. I will combine all this stuff together and upload this today, add some notes, get that to you guys. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to talk to y'all about. I don't think so. I think that's it. So everybody have a great weekend. Have a great start to November. Until next time I talk to you. When hopefully I'll have at least a few things more I can show you. Stitching, knitting, spinning. Definitely we'll talk about books. So I hope all is well wherever you are in the world. Been really enjoying catching up on some Year of Whips, summary type videos, and all of the folks who went off to the Midwestern Stitchers Retreat. That's been really fun to see, as well as Instagram posts and things like that. So I hope the fall is treating you great, and I will talk to you guys early November. Take care.